Hi, this video is a quick overview on how to achieve this type of simple animation effect with the new geometry nodes in Blender 2.93. So I have this text object, I'm gonna convert it to a mesh object, then separate the letters into individual objects and set their origins to their geometries, because those are going to be the pivot points for the animation effect. Then I'm going to switch to the geometry nodes workspace, select a letter and create a new geometry nodes node tree. I'm going to add a transform node to deform the letters, and I'm going to add an empty to control the effect. I'm going to call it controller in, because this is going to control the appearance of the letters. So I'm gonna bring this empty to the node tree to get an object info node, set it to relative, and I want to use the x coordinate of the empty to drive the animation. So I'm gonna use separate XYZ node, connect the location to its input and the x coordinate to the scale. And this is not what we want, but with the map range node we can make sure that we have control over the fall off, and also by leaving the clamp on we can limit the values so that they don't go over 1 or below 0 into the negative scales. So now you see this is looking nice. So I'm gonna copy the modifier to the other letters by selecting them all, leaving the first one active, and Ctrl L, copy modifiers. And that's looking nice. But I'd like to add a bit of an overshoot to make it more interesting, and for that I'm gonna use a color ramp node. By default it isn't doing much because it's still a linear interpolation from black to white, from 0 to 1. But if I control click here to add a new stopwatch and set a value higher than 1, then we see this nice overshoot, kind of a bounce there. And I think that's looking nice, so I'm gonna duplicate the empty, change the display type to distinguish one from another, and call it controller out, because this is going to drive the disappearance of the letters. So I'm gonna select all of these nodes and duplicate them, and now change the object info node so that it points to the new empty, the controller out, and I'm gonna flip this color ramp to get the reverse, to get it from full scale to 0 scale. And I'm gonna add a vector math node set to multiply to compound both effects. So now you can see it's working quite nicely. So now we are ready to animate, and for that I'm gonna drag down here to get a new editor, set it to timeline editor, and now it's just a matter of setting location keyframes for both empties in their initial and final location. First the controller in, then the controller out. And I think that is looking nice. The only thing missing is the little rotation effect, and for that I'm going to duplicate this color ramp here with Ctrl+Shift+T. I'm going to connect the color here to the rotation and flip the color ramp so that the final state is black, meaning 0, that is 0 rotation. So for the initial rotation we can tweak the different components of the color. They essentially are acting as the different axes of the rotation, so we can tweak them till we find a nice initial rotation for the effect. And that's it. Thanks for watching, hope you found it useful, and if you have any questions please leave them in the comments below.